Well, we've been talking about the top. Now it's time to talk about the bottom. There is two teams still to play today. It's Luminosity, as you can see, in 4th place and bottom. 6th position for Trifecta, looking for their first win of the split.
And so you're talking about the bottom, but I'm not too sure that Luminosity is going to stay here for much longer. If you ask me, Hindu, I think that this could very well be one of those dark horse teams for the fall split. I think that Luminosity...
Problem is, though, North America seems to be all dark horses, but yet none of those horses seems to run anywhere.
Well, they're having some troubles getting out of the stalls for the race.
Okay,
I will say that much. But you have to keep in mind, fall split is all leading up into Worlds, and with all the teams getting a chance to have their final showing, I think that this feels a little bit more like the warm-up session to it.
Well, this game's going to be an interesting one for sure. I think Luminosity, for my liking as well, I've touted LG with how they performed in week 1 to probably slip their way into the World Championship live at DreamHack. But first of all, they've got to get through the split and start finding a couple more wins under their belt. And against Trifecta today, as you can see by some of these replays we've got here of the past performances between the two, it's never an easy task for either side.
I just want to see what happens in the solo lane with Kiki and Scary D. We haven't had a chance really to watch these two collide in a little bit, and with the way that Kiki has been playing for the start of this fall split, if he can maintain that, then Luminosity could just have some form of a revival going on here. I think that Scary D has also been having some pretty standout moments for Trifecta, even though the team has gone winless so far. I think that's mostly due to a little bit of awkwardness with their roster situation and having a hard time just looking to solidify what's going on there. And now that they do have everybody where they want them, it's a chance for Trifecta to really start getting their footing.
And here we go then. It's going to be a decent one. Obviously, both Scary D and Kiki, we believe, will make impacts in this set for sure. But I think it'll be more on the team fights as you'd expect from solo lanes these days. The mid laners, though, definitely something to continue talking about. And of course, Trifecta with the jungle change position that's happened this month. And actually in this split, it's going to be interesting to see if they can adapt now, because Weaken's not going to let up any steam in the jungle from LG's point of view.
This is a really important moment for ShadowChair to really try and prove himself as a contending member for competitive play. I don't think that we've really seen anything all that impressive from him so far. I think, if anything, Luminosity has been playing even better than what I originally envisioned, because they've had to make up for their mid laner a bit. And so if ShadowChair can have an awesome set today, then I think that it'll kind of calm, I think, a lot of their fans back at home, or give them peace of mind and not necessarily having to worry about their team ending up in that 6th place position.
Let's get into picks and bans then and see how this one starts off. Luminosity versus Trifecta. Trifecta with the 2nd pick here. LG will get the priority. Is there anything LG themselves will be looking at? Because obviously when you look at the bans and we talk about, you know, the competitive ones like Chernobog, Athena, the likes, Najaz, is there anything LG that stands out to you like, oh, they'd love to get their hands on that?
Mostly looking towards gods like Discordia, I think, because there's some flex pick options there. I think it's unlikely we see Kiki trying to run back.
Hunters today?
I know, there's been a ton of hunters, but Luminosity have their tendencies to kind of stray more towards what their players are familiar with and what their players are comfortable with, and I think that they like building comps around that. I think it was smart bans, though, from Trifecta to get rid of the Athena for sure.
Athena and the Mar are going to be taken away, but Naja was left open, and Luminosity will lock that in straight away. Weaken's probably going to play that in the jungle, you expect?
I would not necessarily say agreeing to that. I mean, there's a chance for Geno to take this into the support. I'm looking mostly towards Geno as opposed to Kiki maybe having a chance at the Naja in solo. There's possibilities for all of that to take place. I think a lot of it just depends on what Trifecta go for, too.
Anhur and Fafnir will be the first 2 selections for Trifecta. This Anhur we've seen running the duo lane and in the mid lane some this split too, so not necessarily locked in for the duo lane there, but could be possible. Puch the follow-up here for LG. It's a really good follow-up for Naja. Now, it's not, in a weird way, it is a burst of damage that you can get with the corpse explosion after the Windfire Wheels, but at the same time, you could just lay down the ultimate as Puch and go, and now you've got to run through mud.
I'm looking at the slows for Luminosity right now. There are so many different forms of slows just between these 3 gods alone, and Trifecta are taking hunters that don't necessarily fare very well into that.
It's an early game composition from, well, Trifecta for now with Anhur and Ullr selected here, I'd say. Fafnir definitely gives them a bit more of an edge in the later stages because these 2 hunters don't have personal steroids. Well, actually, Ullr does, but it's a different form of one. But the same again, Fafnir will give them the attack speed and the extra power that may be able to help them out here to bring them to that late game stage. Trifecta looking like they're going pretty early here.
And I'm not exactly opposed to that. I think that for Trifecta, a team that's undergone so many different roster swaps recently, they're still just trying to figure out where exactly they stand in competitive as well with the rest of the North American teams. Going for early game pressure, I think, is probably their best bet if they want to try and find themselves with a victory over Luminosity.
Kuzumbo Kumbakana banned out by Trifecta. It's Darji, something we don't see banned too often just lately, or even picked. And Raven, it will be Erlang Shen then that gets through for the time being for Trifecta. Definitely jungleable. We see it more there than anywhere else at the moment.
I think it's also a very safe pick for Sam to take into the jungle. Keep in mind that it is Sam4Soccer now as that main roster jungler taking over for Mask since he's chosen to retire. But Erlang and Sam, I mean, this is a pick we've seen him play quite a few times throughout his time with the Amateur League of the SML and even prior to that with CC and the like. And I think it fits the bill pretty nicely.
I don't like Trifecta having no magical damage. Fafnir and Sobek is not magical damage. And yes, at max rank, Sobek's ultimate will do like 900 damage plus scaling, but at the same time, that's if you've got magical scaling to go off of as well. This is a thing that we've seen a bit more often where people just don't care about magical damage as much, and it can come back to haunt you sometimes.
It's because if you can get Double Hunter going online early, then you're able to snowball the match, and you don't have to worry about missing out on magical damage because you're supposed to be closing out the game before 30-minute mark even gets a chance to hit. That's what Trifecta are putting all their eggs into one basket for. Luminosity, on the other hand, they're probably going to be very willing to sacrifice some of that early game map pressure if it means that they'll be able to just look for the counter initiations as the match progresses. I think that if this does end up past the 25-minute mark, Trifecta are probably going to start sweating a little bit here because those slows and the burst damage as well is going to come back to haunt Trifecta.
You guys at home, who do you think will win game one? I am feeling LG in this composition so far.
I like what Luminosity have on the table so far.
Well, let's find out if we're right or are you guys at home even more right. The casters are standing by to bring you this last set of the day.
LG up against Trifecta. Thanks, Hindu. Thanks, Taco. Finch and Aggro here as we move into our final set of the day. But with how evenly matched these teams are, I don't know if it's going to be quick, Ryan. This one is shaping up to be a doozy.
Both of these teams have great upside and are looking to play towards it, but they've had their struggles so far during their time in the SPL. Specifically here in the fall split, I think Trifecta has really ended up in a spot where they're at the bottom looking up without Mask in the jungle for them, though Sam certainly has some talent.
Yeah.
It's going to take him, I think, a bit to adjust to the SPL level, whereas Luminosity is trying to do the same for their mid laner in ShadowChair.
And I got a chance to talk with Sam a bit, last week, and just getting to hear from him, they said that they're, trying to work with that next man up mentality. I asked him if he felt that there was going to be a lot they asked from him in particular, and he said, I don't think so. Everyone on the team is trying to do their responsibility, do their roles. I'm just going to be one of those pieces helping this team trying to be strong, and I think that's what Sam is going to do for this team. Trifecta up against LG. This is one they can certainly win, but it's going to require everybody doing their best.
Clout and Geno able to strip away the red buff from Trifecta. It's that pressure that Naja in the support role brings, but I don't love the way this draft has played out for Luminosity. I like the picks, I just don't like where they've gone. I would have much rather seen Bellona solo, Cerberus support.
Wow, yeah, a lot of Bellona jungle, huh?
Naja jungle. This Bellona jungle just... Homie played pretty well on it in the last game, but it's still just not what I think is usually what you're looking for in the jungler. It's good teamfight presence, yes, but Warriors need to be ahead in order to be effective.
Sam blinks in. ShadowChair's the target. Great knockup. Sets up first blood. Paul with the follow-up. Puts down ShadowChair on the upwatch.
And ShadowChair just got to use beads earlier than that. I mean, if Sam's going to full commit onto you, you have to understand that you're probably dead off the Ullr combo from Paul. Weekend did a really nice job of trying to get in between ShadowChair and Paul to body block the axe, but even if he body blocks the axe, he can't body block the 1-3 combo off the knockup from Sam4Soccer. That was ambitious from ShadowChair to try and not use his relic in that spot.
And he indeed gets punished for it. That is first blood over to an Ullr. And it's something you almost never want to see from the other side. This is exactly what you put Ullr in the mid lane for this early game pressure. He often is able to bully out these mages with this stance switch, and so far with Sam4Soccer doing a great blink into the knockup, that's gone that way for Sam.
I do love the fact that Sam got his 2 at that point. Normally Erlang Shen jungle wants to start with the 1 or get the 1 at level 2 because it's just so much more clear speed. But instead, Sam elects for the pin. That play was drawn up the entire time. That was always part of the plan, was to kill ShadowChair early at level 2.
That means now Paul going to be that much closer to that Transcendence, getting it finished stacked and getting right back in. In fact, it's done right now. He just had found that room for the back timing, has that Transcendence, will begin it stacking. It's going to get even worse in the middle lane as Clout says goodbye to half his health bar. Not before he returns the favor on the Zapman, who's still looking to trade. Neil going to keep right in his face, but no more there.
Zap and Neil definitely have the right idea there. No reason to try and secure purple and kind of risk it. You don't want to fight Naja at this part of the map because that ring toss becomes so good. They lose a little bit of farm out of the wave. Believe they lost a melee creep, but to poke out Clout and make sure that the buff goes your way is worth your while.
Paul, aggressive one more time. Weaken beads right away, though. We'll get that Bellona out of trouble. Paul did find the axe, but not enough to find the kill, only to force the beads. But it might be a little bit more difficult. It is going to be a tankier Bellona than maybe you're used to from your jungle opponent, so it won't be that easy of a kill either way.
Well, it'll be a Berserker Shield early, I imagine, for Weekend, and it's just that normally, yes, it's a little bit tankier than what you're used to, but it's still not as tanky as you're used to Bellona being in general, because Bellona normally has a level and a half, 2 levels on you, and that's where a lot of that effectiveness comes from outright base damage, from the abilities, to just having natural power and tankiness from leveling up. And in the jungle, you just don't get that same level of effect.
It's interesting recognition, though, from Weekend to pick up the Purification Beads. I got to think you're picking Bellona because you want to be aggressive, and so there might be some value there to the blink, but recognizing that the pull is going to be there, the pin from San4Soccer, the taunt, all these tools are there. Weekend wanted to make sure he had that extra bit of survivability.
And I think he's wise to do so. The CC chain potential from Trifecta is pretty absurd, even in these early stages. And Sam, on the other hand, doesn't really have to worry about it as much, as he can go blink and do things like that, though it looks like blink wasn't even necessary. ShadowChair dies again. Beads were there, but weren't able to help him out, and blink wasn't even used for Sam, so that means you could just come back and do that again as soon as ShadowChair respawns.
And this time it'll be even easier because you will have that blink available. Full boots are going to be there for San4Soccer. He's not rushing right into the Berserkers, which you sometimes see in the solo side, but in jungle, you want that extra movement speed, at least it would appear. And Sam has sat on this middle lane, at least so far, and really caused problems for ShadowChair.
That's what Erlang does so well, is just put pressure on mobile mages in particular, but really mages in general. And right now he's the facilitator, he's there for CC, but eventually he'll be able to one-shot ShadowChair by himself. And once that Berserker Shield comes up, you know, something along the lines of a Stone Cutting, maybe a Masamune, a Crusher, you add that into a Berserker Shield, any of those items, and Sam doesn't need the help from Paul much longer.
ShadowChair was considering heading over into the jungle just now, but I think he thought a little bit better of it. Ends up coming right back in. But man, I'm kind of glad we're seeing more Erlang Shen lately, because I feel like he really is fun to watch. He has so much playmaking potential with the knock-up. I love seeing nice pins come out as well. Erlang Shen is really in a strong spot. We're seeing a little bit more of him in the jungle and in the solo role, kind of all around the map. He's one of those gods I just really like to be played well.
Erlang has been nuts in my mind. I've always felt like Erlang has been really good. As Weekend, though, on the receiving end of the combo this time, and that cost him half his HP. No real commit out of Sam or Paul in that spot. Erlang jungle just does everything you want him to do. He's got really, really good gank potential. His CC is solid. He has good enough damage by himself. He can take care of himself. It definitely works out.
Paul and Sam lurking in the jungle, but that's not going to work anymore. He blinks past the initiation from Weekend, drops the taunt, but a flag is going to root him right in place. San4Soccer keeps up running. Good axe from Paul to create the space, and Sam should be out of here for all intents and purposes, especially with Neil rotating in. But can they defend these back Harpies? Weekend gets chunked. Sam can't follow up thanks to the sash. Now Geno might be a little bit too far forward.
Neil going to get that stun onto Geno, pin right afterwards as well, and Geno expends the last of his mana trying to get away. Now Paul doesn't have boots done yet, but that sprint will get him nice and close. Nice
axe from Paul. They don't have quite enough damage. Hail of arrow, though, over the wall. Paul now on a killing spree. All 3 kills on this Ullr mid.
This is how Trifecta draws up this composition. Get Paul ahead. Now Sam needs to be careful. Weekend stops the back, but not able to go in for the kill, but that might have opened up a window for Weekend to invade speed, though he didn't have the timer up.
I don't know if Clout realized just how in trouble he is. He does still have that dive bomb available, commits the ultimate there just to try and make sure that they're able to get that buff invade successful, but it doesn't look like it. Zapman able to secure the buff, and Clout commits a lot there in vain. He is able to make it away with his life at the very least. So he has that.
Now, Trifecta feel like they're up by a lot, but this lead really isn't a lot at all. It's a couple hundred gold. Experience is actually in Luminosity's favor still, despite Trifecta being up 3-0. The big difference so far, of course, is in the mid lane, where Paul is up about 700 gold. So the rest of Luminosity outside of this mid lane is actually up in gold overall. It's that Sam it has put Paul so far ahead that now Paul has a big lead over ShadowChair. And ShadowChair's got to recognize that and understand that Paul is going to be the member of the team that you absolutely cannot fight at this point. And it looks like Sam's actually going into a Void Shield here. No Berserkers for him. That is very interesting. I mean, I guess he's a little bit worried about the Najah damage, but I feel like just getting that cheap Berserker Shield power spike is exactly what he needs to keep his lead going.
See how well it ends up working here up against Weekend, who has elected for the Berserkers as we sort of expected at this point in the game. You talked about some of the other areas. There were some disparities in terms of the lead as Zapman's in trouble. Beats comes out. Great impale. Geno really with nowhere to go. That was all his aggression, but there were too many Trifecta members there.
Neil has played so well so far this game, hasn't he? I mean, his hammers have been perfect. The stun timing there just to make sure that Zap is safe. Really well done.
ShadowChair now in duress. He is going to drop the empty the cribs, but Paul just has too much damage for the lone op Puch to deal with and puts him down.
Again, a perfect hammer by Neil right as the beads wear off. This has been the Paul show in the kill department, but Sam has assists on all 5 kills. Neil has played well. This is the team effort that you're really looking for from Trifecta. Now they need to make sure that Scary doesn't fall too far behind, as he's down a full level and a half right now to Kiki.
It is nice, I think, that Zapman was able to grab this kill. He's gone a little bit slower because he went right for the Devourer's Gauntlets as opposed to Clout, who went ahead with boots, and I imagine going to come back on the backswing and finish those gauntlets up. So even with that bit of a slower start, Geno's kind of over-aggression there in the jungle does mean that Zapman's able to find a nice kill and a little bit of extra farm there, too.
ShadowChair is not going to get a whole lot tankier, or at least right now he isn't. Because he's going for that Chronos Pendant. Is Scary off the mark with that pluck, but Kiki still CC'd. Plenty of ultimates invested to try and bring him down, and it looks like it will be successful. Neil earns himself a kill, but look at this. Luminosity head towards gold, but realize they can't do it. No one there to tank it for them.
They can't burn it down, and there's that vision there for Trifecta as well, so it certainly wasn't going to be a secret. And if Paul was around, he might be able to come contest. Geno is dead to rights in the middle lane. Axe into pluck. Scary D sets it up, and Paul knocks him down.
ShadowChair might be dead here too. Yeah, that's
double.
An easy kill for Paul. Another perfect hammer from Neil. And Luminosity just uncharacteristically lost. I mean, particularly ShadowChair and Geno. They are 0-7 in 10 minutes between the two of them. And Geno has had a really, really good split and overall season, for my estimation. This is definitely uncharacteristic for him to be struggling this much.
It definitely is something that can't happen, as Weekend wants to be here to steal the gold. Trifecta do manage to secure it, but Kiki and Weekend are both now here. Zapman jumps over the wall for the disengage. Sam for Soccer now here and fully healthy. Going to be much harder for LG to find anything on the back of that. Looks like a clean escape for Trifecta.
This is how you play the lead. Go for the Gold Furies. Keep it going, because you heard him on the desk. This is an early game composition for Trifecta. This is the identity that they really wanted to go for during summer. It's kind of working out a little bit better now, it seems. At least through the first 11 minutes of this game, it's working out very well. But you have to keep pressure on. You can't let off the gas just because you got a kill or two in the mid lane. Go for the objectives afterwards. Giving up Pyro here, not a big deal whatsoever.
Right.
There were a lot of resources expended by Trifecta. No reason to throw away a lead by going in and dying for that. But now, I mean, just keep on killing ShadowChair and Geno. Geno has to go for Breastplate of Valor because he's so squishy and he needs some sort of cheap physical defense that he goes for Breastplate. He's not that tanky still. You can kill him through that without a doubt. ShadowChair is level 9. I mean, Paul's got a 2-level lead right now and has a finished Crusher, where ShadowChair hasn't even finished his second item yet.
A nice big advantage in the middle lane. And isn't this just what it looks like when Paul plays well? It feels kind of feast or famine with him in the mid lane for this Trifecta roster, whether it's the band cross rush Hebo or this Ullr pick that he's also very confident on. When Paul is on, when he gets that lead, he's so strong with it and very rarely gives it up.
This is kind of like if you didn't really watch a lot of minor league, and you didn't see, and you watched some games with Paul's, and he's had some good ones, he's had some bad ones, as you mentioned. And you're like, why did Trifecta pick this dude? this is ShadowChair is still making the transition from minor league level to SPL level, and this is what Paul did to minor league level mid laners. Yes. I mean, he just obliterated them.
Zapman going aggressive. Clout is going to channel that Sunbreaker dive bomb in aggressively and blows Zapman right on up. Paul comes back to at least make it a trade, but now with Weekend dunking down the flag, he's going to try and trade it right back. Sam for Sucker falls to Geno. Neil has got to run for his life, but Sash locks him down.
Neil's still okay. That's a 2-for-1 in favor of Luminosity. Clout made a big play there to jump into Zapman's ultimate and try and take him down, and did so successfully, make sure that he got off enough damage. Sam just died so quickly.
He did.
In that fight. That Void Shield didn't seem to help him out too much. That Prot Shred from Ring Bounce, man, it's no joke.
Ends up burning him there quite quickly. A lot of nice interactions from it. Clout, I'm right there with you. I love his recognition that he can't really afford to kind of to back out. He's going to be dead to rights anyway, so at least trades his life away. I like the idea from Sam. Taunt kind of interrupts the bludgeon on Weekend's initial entry on that fight, but his impact was pretty big as well, dropping down the Eagles rally. That one just didn't quite go the way Trifecta were looking for, as LG answer back in a way that was very much needed. Clout and Geno finding some kills.
Cloud in particular, I think, is the one that you're looking for to Luminosity now. I mean, Kiki as well. I think it's the two side laners for Luminosity. They've been leaders for this team, at least on gameplay-wise,
Kiki
for getting wins. Yeah. Kiki's the one who's been able to stalemate his lane the best so far alongside Clout. And so you're looking at those two to really bring Luminosity back in this game.
Trying to just kind of brute force this tier 1 tower. Weekend comes up on the right-hand side. In attempts to deter that, Eagles rally hits 2. Kiki's right here behind with the ghastly breath. Neil has to try and run away from ShadowChair's damage, but Kiki doesn't want to give up on this one yet. Paralyzing Spit and Stygian Torment dumps him down.
Got Sam as well, and now Sam brought in the midst of all
That's
5.
huge.
Clout gonna come over, and the 2 that we were just highlighting each get a kill in that little skirmish. Trifecta lose 2, and don't have anything to say about it afterwards. That Neil, pretty aggressive standing that far under tier 1 tower. That gets him punished quickly by a good recognition from Luminosity and by Weekend in particular to keep that fight going in their favor. And then Sam, I don't know how he got hit by that Stygian Torment. Looked like he was going to be out of there, but then Kiki found both the killing blow onto NeiruMah and that.
Ultimate is going to be dropped. The crypts have been emptied. Zapman, though, wants ShadowChair, and Desert Fury's enough damage. He does get taken up into the air, though, by the Najah. Comes right back down, but has Aegis to keep him alive and jumps his way out of there. Kiki doesn't want to let him escape, but can't find the kill.
Kiki should be safe and sound. Scary looked for the pluck on Weekend, but clipped the wall, so he won't have the range. I don't know what that was, Finch, to be completely frank with you. That ultimate from ShadowChair was not good.
Well, I was wondering, too, maybe, I mean, because it's not underneath the tower. It didn't zone anyone back. Very curious. And then Zapman just kind of Desert Furies him down as the Weekend jumps over the wall. Eagles Rally will not defend the tier 1. And Paul, 7-0-1, continues to be the pillar for Trifecta as the walls have kind of come tumbling down these last few minutes off the back of some impressive play from Weekend and Clout in particular to try and keep them relevant here in this match.
Zap also, I mean, is just perfectly accurate with the Desert's Fury, and that's one thing that Opwash can't really deal with is long-range damage like that. I mean, he doesn't have any mobility options, but drop the corpses at your feet and heal yourself. I mean, you had options to at least get some sort of HP, or don't move in a straight line in that spot. I don't know. It's been 0-5 for ShadowChair, and we're getting to the point now. I mean, it's week 3. This is the beginning of his 3rd week of competition between scrims and the previous 2 weeks of competition. ShadowChair, you lose that ability to be like, well, he's new. Eventually, that tag has got to expire at some point.
Gotta start stepping up a little bit more for this LG squad, as they've got a real shot. North America, I feel like, really has never been more open than it is right now. Yes, United do look to be pretty clearly up there at the top, but the second spot's up for grabs. That's your ticket right on through that placement stage that everyone's trying to avoid right now. And really, it's open. Splice won up against Space Station earlier today. Trifecta have the roster swaps, so maybe they're not at the strength that they once were. CLG have been a bit of an enigma, I feel like, throughout the entirety of Season 5. You never know how they're going to perform. So ShadowChair, when LG have a real shot, I think, to do something here in fall, has got to make sure that he's up there at the same level as the rest of this team.
Without a doubt. There's a lot of pressure on him. This is a team that has potential. And
it's not easy. It's the SPL, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cry me a river, dude. That's the way it goes.
I'm right there with
this is the best of the best in the world, and you got to play like you belong.
Well, Gold Fury being looked at now by Trifecta. Time to show up is here. Neil's been stunned out. Scary D has been sashed, but Pluck pulls Geno right back into everyone else, so he goes up into the air to try and avoid all the action. Zapman low, Zapman gone. Clout removes him quite easily.
Geno makes the play to save the game potentially for Luminosity. I'll go into it later as Sam's got to use the beads in order to keep himself alive after the sash. Now, Trifecta did get one. Weekend ended up dying, but Clout is still so healthy. ShadowChair's healthy enough. This could be an easy Gold Fury, and indeed it will. If Geno doesn't hit that ultimate, that fight is over, and Trifecta wins it very easily. But the fact that he hits Zap right away, and that's almost the nightmare scenario, is seeing a Naja be plucked towards you, because you know someone is getting targeted, but you don't want to waste your CC immunity if he goes right instead of left, but you kind of need to waste it. If Zapman hits the ultimate in that spot, it gives himself a CC immunity, kills Geno, doesn't get ricocheted, which was sick, by the way, from Clout to hit the ricochet off the pillar to guarantee that kill. Then Luminosity's in a horrible spot because Scary set that fight up nicely, but I don't know that Naja's the one you want to initiate for right now if you're Trifecta. I think that plucking even Weekend is a better look than the Naja sometimes.
And Scary D immediately responded to himself getting sashed, and that one is ShadowChair gets removed. Someone hit delete on him and took him out of this game. Kiki has to jump away, but Weekend's jumping back in. It's 4 against 4 as Clout tucks down Scary D as well. Weekend on the backside wants to try and take down Zapman, who's low. Bludgeon gets immuned by the Aegis, but Sam for Soccer is looking for some of his own.
Oh, another perfect blink ult by Geno. That'll take down Zapman. And now Luminosity's got to try and get their support out of danger. Nice sash, good ultimate from Clout, and the movement speed and heal from Geno is good enough. Paul was more busy with Weekend, and he got that kill, and he's looking for more.
Now he's got Kiki. Perfect knockup comes out for Sam for Soccer and sets up a double. Geno now in the sights. Neo gonna fall as well. Clout wants the man fight dive bomb in Aegis to immune, and a triple kill comes out for Paul on the backside. Trifecta make the best of a worse situation and somehow come out the winners.
Man, it really feels like Paul versus Geno in a lot of these team fights. Who's gonna do more for their team? I mean, Geno makes it so that team fight at least doesn't go horribly for Luminosity because he's able to pick up Zapman on the backside with a perfectly aimed blink ult. Paul ends up staying safe throughout and gets a triple. He's now 5 levels up on ShadowChair in the mid lane. Clout does what he can. I do love the aggressive mindset that Clout has, always has had.
Yes.
In that ADC role to go on top of Paul. No reason to try and run away in that spot because you're probably getting caught no matter what. But now it's Trifecta back in the driver's seat.
I honestly feel like without Geno's impact in these last 2 fights in particular, I'm not saying
over.
it's tightened down, but yeah, like game's over, like difference-wise in the lead, as Fire Giant had to have been leashed at this point. Kiki was able to force it out, but a pluck lands onto Weekend this time. Eagles rally defensively as Desert Fury is expended just for damage, but not much is found there by Zapman. Trifecta can look back towards the FG, but without some key cooldowns, there's no relics for Zap at all.
And that is huge. And now no ultimate for him either.
Yeah.
So now Geno just has his sights set.
He was already
Zapman.
finding him before, right?
Exactly. Now it's an easy target for him. And that's huge for the Naja support. Is Weekend, no ultimate, no beads for him, and Sam able to punish him perfectly. That is definitely an overextension by Weekend. Wanted to strip away the Magi's cloak for Sam, and he got it. But it cost him.
A great recognition there from Sam for Soccer and Paul, and they comboed together rather nicely. Fire Giant, take 2 from Trifecta, as they are going to be in the 5v4, but it looks like a bit of a bait this time. They're not going all in on it. NeiruMah transforming. They were expecting a harder commit from LG. They'll turn right back around to the objective now. Kiki on the backside has the ultimate available for him, but they're going in on a Geno. He's been isolated. He can't even make it up into the air. Neil finds that kill. ShadowChair is stuck inside the water on the backside of the fight, which means it's just Kiki against the world. A mortar for Paul as he finds another kill.
Now ShadowChair survives. Sari can't get that kill, but that means that it's just Clout and ShadowChair close enough to even consider contesting this. That dot damage on the Geno to make sure Sam doesn't fall is absolutely critical.
Wow.
And Trifecta really now are steamrolling ahead in these team fights. And it's Paul, dude. I mean, it's that simple. And look, a lot of players in the SPL can get the support that Paul got in the mid lane and hit that Ullr combo on a rooted and knocked up Opwash. I'm not trying to take away from Paul. What I'm trying to highlight is that Paul has that killer mentality that you really can't teach.
Right.
That when you give this dude a lead, he's going to play like he's up 30,000 gold individually. And I think that mindset is what makes Paul so good in the games that he's good, and it's also what holds him back in the games where he's behind, and then he has trouble changing gears sometimes. But when you get him a game like this, he looks like a world beater. And Trifecta is able to have confidence in him to give him the lead and understand that he's going to win them the game as long as the rest of the team is able to support him and he doesn't make the mistakes. And he hasn't made a mistake so far. He's played great. And the rest of Trifecta has just been not along for the ride because they've been giving him directions, but Paul's been the driver.
The game not too far out of reach, but it certainly could be soon if Trifecta take down all these remaining Tier 2 towers. A lot of gold on the map to be farmed up now by the Chaos side. They've put Scary D in the mid lane by himself right now up against KikiSoCheeky just to keep the wave pushed up more than anything. He has no potential here to kill or take the tower, but the rest of Trifecta will rotate over to join up and try and force this down. But look at this positioning. Do LG want to fight here? They might have to, as Kiki's been plucked in, pushed up against the wall. Stygian Torment won't even go off. One more for Zap.
Yeah, it's odd positioning in this game from a lot of different players. No point for Kiki to be there at all. Geno now gets stunned. He's going to look for an ultimate, and surprise, surprise, he finds
There's a
Zapman.
magnet. There's a magnet in Zapman's head or something as Geno snaps right on him every single time with the Windfire wheels. Pluck pulls him back. Paul, of course, is waiting to put him down. SamForSoccer finds Clout. That means it's just ShadowChair and one more there to defend, but Trifecta, 5 members strong, are going to push right through to the mid-Phoenix. Weekend coming on the backside. Eagles rally, hits a couple, but ShadowChair's already gone.
ShadowChair was there, we promise, and Weekend was there, we promise, but no longer for either of them. Zap's got to use Aegis to make sure the Phoenix doesn't kill him, but Kiki the only one up soon. Now he does have ultimate.
He does.
And Zap's got beads, but this one's over.
Trifecta able to grab the win over LG, 24 minutes, 25 seconds, and there were some stumbles there, I'll say, in the middle, but never for Paul. My man from the beginning of the game towards the end was in control, ran that middle lane, great support from SamForSoccer to put him in that position, and those two just kind of ran the table.
Look, I'll do whatever I'm told on these broadcasts, but do not ask me MVP because I don't want. Don't ask me to tell you who I think because it's very obviously Paul. Like that one is as cut and dry as you will ever see.
That's interesting. They told me in my headset to call for the MVP, but why should I do that? It's clearly Paul, right?
It's Paul.
Yeah, put Paul in all 5 slots, please.
Just get Paul highlights ready.
Yeah, that's what you should be working on.
Don't even look at the poll. It doesn't matter what if the fans are trolling. I don't want to hear it. Just put Paul replays up. That's all that matters.
Absolutely. Just a really excellent game from Trifecta, looking strong here in Game 1. LG going to have a lot of work to do if they want to bounce back in Game 2. Let's get it back over to the desk for the breakdown.
Well, Finch, you said it best there. I think there's a lot of work that needs to go back into this for LG in Game 2. Trifecta, they came out swinging from the outset and didn't really let up.
They came out with what felt like a vengeance, in all honesty. There was just so much aggression right away. They just really hit the ground running. Definitely impressed with everything that Paul did throughout this set, or throughout this match, I should say. And the KDA is not deceiving you in the slightest. That's a 22 kill count participation scoreline from Paul.
Let's just take into account as well, Paul is one of the recent transfers this year from the Smite Minor League to the Pro League, and he's finding his feet here. He's going to be the MVP for Game 1, as you'd expect. 21,000 player damage. Not so bad on Ullr, but to be fair, when you get yourselves in a good position as Ullr, you can look at just hitting an outwash in the face over and over again. You're going to have a good time.
Yeah, I think that Luminosity might want to consider giving ShadowChair a guy with a little bit more survivability. It seemed as though ShadowChair was really struggling with his positioning early on, being a little bit too far forward. That's how we got caught in the first place, and Paul was just able to control the pacing of the match from that point forward. Once an Ullr gets going in mid, it's so incredibly annoying to try and shut him down, and that was just the case for Luminosity. It took all pressure away from Zapman as well, so Zap at a certain point was even able to just freely cast from the back line.
Yeah, and Zap had a pretty good game for himself too, but continue with the kills for Paul as he just continue game one after the other, and that Aegis, nice way to end up getting a triple kill. Pretty quick game as well, that one.
Well, that's one thing about the double hunters. We were just talking about it in the last set. That's what you want to see from the double hunter composition with the Fafnir. You don't want to give the opportunity for the magical damage from the enemy team to actually come online, and ShadowChair was just completely eliminated from having a chance to farm. Trifecta did a great job at just keeping the entirety of Luminosity zoned away.